Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here, and I wanted to go over the 2016 NBA Draft team grades with you guys. Keep in mind, this is from FoxSports.com, and this article was written by Aaron Torres, so this is not like set in stone. This is this guy's thoughts and opinion. So it's important that you guys comment your thoughts and opinions on how your team did and how where your favorite college player got drafted to and how it affects your team and all that good stuff in the comment section below. And let's just get right to it, guys. So, the Atlanta Hawks, I think this is all in alphabetical order, or maybe it's by conference or something. They took Taurean Prince from Baylor, DeAndre Bembry, also in the first round, and Isaiah Cornier in the second round, who was a shooting guard from France. Okay, so the Atlanta Hawks definitely are going to have issues this upcoming season, man, losing Jeff Teague and potentially Al Horford. You know, Kyle Korver's older now, too. Paul Millsap's a solid player. But hopefully these guys can come in and really give this team some scoring or, do something for them, get a little spark going. But my guess is that we'll probably see Atlanta in the lottery next season. Okay, the Boston Celtics. This team took some freaking L's this draft, guys. They had all those draft picks from the Brooklyn Nets, and they take Jaylen Brown with the number 3 pick? Like, I was thinking he's like a top 15 talent, not number 3 overall. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he can be a good player. But I don't think that was the right choice. I think they should have either traded this draft pick or maybe, draft somebody different with it. Also, not to mention that they took Deontay Davis with the 31st pick, and they ended up trading him away. I thought Deontay Davis, would have been a lottery pick. Now, keep in mind, he probably should have stayed another year in college, if you ask me. But I don't know. I think Boston Celtics definitely did not have a very good draft, although they did give him an A+. So I don't know what this guy's talking about right here. The Celtics used the 3rd pick and arguably the 3rd best player in this draft. I don't know, man. I don't think he's the 3rd best player. I think there was other choices out there. And by the Twitter reaction, I think a lot of people would also agree with me on that. Brooklyn Nets got Karis LeVert from Indiana. They ended up trading away, Thaddeus Young. So, to get that draft pick. Karis LeVert, I'm a Michigan fan. And honestly, he should not have been taken in the first round. He's been injured for the past 2 seasons. And he has not really proved himself to be that pick. I didn't even think he was going to get drafted. So, sure, I think he can be a first-round talent. But that remains to be seen if he can stay healthy. Charlotte Hornets didn't do shit. Chicago Bulls, Denzel Valentine from Michigan State. Now, I believe Denzel Valentine was the Big Ten Player of the Year. A good all-around player. Honestly, he reminds me of Draymond Green, except he's a guard. In the sense of that he doesn't do anything particularly great, but he does everything pretty damn well. So, I don't know. I think that's definitely a good pick up there for Chicago Bulls. Especially a team that, if you ask me, is probably in rebuild mode at this point. All right, Cleveland Cavaliers. They took Kay Fielder with the 54th pick from Oakland via the Atlanta Hawks. It looks like, Dellavedova is probably going to get traded. So hopefully this guy can come in and play that backup role and do okay for him out there. They got an A+ with this pick, so he must be a pretty solid player. All right, although I'm not even paying attention to this guy's grades, though. You all give me your grades because this dude gave the Boston Celtics a freaking A+. Like I said, Jaylen Brown, I'm not going to get into it again. All right, my Detroit Pistons, they got a Henry Ellenson with the 1st pick, and they did not even bring this guy to camp, which was kind of surprising, man, because, it was surprising that they took this guy, but the thing is that they didn't think he was going to even be there. It's like a team, not comparing to Ben Simmons or nothing like that, but it's like a team not wanting to work out Ben Simmons because, he's obviously going number 1, number 2 overall, so I'm not going to waste my time. So the Pistons, I think, got a steal here. This Henry Ellenson actually used to play a guard, so he actually has some good ball handling skills. He's 6'10", 240. Going to be a pretty good stretch for him in this league, I believe. If he can play defense, that remains to be seen. But I think definitely a good risk for a team that wasn't really going to get better from the draft regardless. Indiana Pacers. They did not have a first-round draft pick. They ended up trading that away. And they got George Niang from Iowa State. No, I'm sorry. George Niang, from Iowa State with the 50th overall pick. They got a B for that. I guess that's fine. I'm sure he's probably a pretty solid player. Don't know if we'll hear too much from him, or maybe we will. Miami Heat, no picks, equals no grades. Milwaukee Bucks, they took Thon Maker with the 10th pick overall. Thon Maker is a player that's based solely, guys, off potential. I think potential is the biggest risk you can take when drafting an NBA player, because potential basically shows me that, they got the NBA body, but do they have the mindset and the drive to be great? Because unless you prove something to me like in college, it really is all just speculation and risk. Not to say he can't be a great player. At number 10, though, I think they could have probably done a little bit better. New York Knicks. Y'all got Derrick Rose. Y'all don't need no draft pick. You got D Rose out there, man. Orlando Magic. Steven Zimmerman. Zimmerman, Gonna be a pretty solid player. I think, it's just I think he'll be one of those serviceable big guys off the bench. He won't ever be like a star player or anything like that, but he'll be a guy that's gonna come and play defense and get rebounds and stuff like that. But y'all got Serge Ibaka, man, for freaking what the hell were you all thinking with them trades, man? Domantas, freaking Trey and Oladipo. Serge Ibaka's good and everything, but damn, you gave up a lot for him. All right, Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, they took Ben Simmons with the first pick overall. Ben Simmons, just he has to prove something to me. I'm sure he has to prove something to you guys too, that he really is a winner out there, and that he doesn't have like a big head full of helium, just like, oh, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like, yo, man, go out there, ball, earn the Philadelphia 76ers respect, and turn that team around. And they also got Timothy Luwawu, Barrett, and Furkan Korkmaz. They got an A+ according to this guy, so I'm sure those guys will probably help out the 76ers also. At this point, they can't get much worse. Toronto Raptors took Jakob Poeltl, Pascal Siakam, and they got an A- for this. Jakob, looks like probably he's a different player altogether from Bismack, so he's probably an offensive-oriented guy out there, which is fine. That's definitely a good guy that you want off the bench, maybe do some scoring for you. Washington Wizards, no draft picks. Dallas Mavericks, so we're now in the Western Conference, so it is by conference. They got AJ Hammond from Purdue. I remember watching him a little bit. I thought he was a fine player. He's a decent center prospect, but one who size 7 foot and leg athleticism doesn't play well in the modern NBA. That's definitely true. You definitely gotta be quick on your feet to be a big guy in the league these days, unless you're just like dominant rebounder and can just like overpower everybody. You can't overpower everybody. You gotta be quick. All right, Denver Nuggets. They got Jamal Murray, which I thought was a bit surprising, seeing how they have Emmanuel Mudiay on this team from last year. But Jamal Murray, don't get me wrong, is definitely, I wouldn't say he has to be a point guard. He could definitely play the shooting guard position. Malik Beasley from Florida State. I don't know too much about his game, but I've heard his name before, so I assume he's probably a pretty good player. And it looks like we got some good young pieces added to this Denver Nuggets team. Golden State Warriors, they took Damian Jones. Looks like he's a center, so he'll probably take Ezeli's spot, because Ezeli in space didn't really do all that great in the finals, if you ask me. So hopefully he can go out there. It looks like, let's see here, is there anything about him here? So I'm not really, it's hard like reading and talking at the same time, so sorry if I missed it over looking stuff here. Looks like he's athletic enough to run with the Splash Bros, so he can bang down low, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be a good backup center for him. Houston Rockets took Chianchu Onwuaku. I'm freaking dumb, man. I don't even know. C+. Hopefully these guys can play defense, because James Harden cannot. I'm being a hater. Los Angeles Clippers took Bryce Johnson. Good solid pickup. I think he's a 6'9", 6'10". Power forward, can score pretty good off the block. I'm sure you can, good decent rebounder. If you had a guy like Blake Griffin leaves or something like that, then or via trade, then hey, he could probably step in and be a pretty good guy. Maybe not a starter, but good off the bench. Los Angeles Lakers took Brandon Ingram. In my opinion, the potential to be the best player in this draft. Still young. He's not going to be great right away. I'm sure he can come in and he can probably score I'd probably give him about 12, maybe 15 points next season game, which is pretty good. But when I say he's not going to be great right off the bat, I mean he's not going to be great compared to what his potential truly can be, which I think he'll hit that. He just needs to develop his body a little bit more and put some muscle on. Memphis Grizzlies took Wade Baldwin from Vanderbilt, a point guard. They also ended up getting Deontay Davis, who is another player who's based solely off potential. But who knows? Maybe he'll end up being good. But they actually got him in a trade from the Boston Celtics. So, Baldwin, I don't know too much about his game either. I'm sure he'll come off and, probably a backup point guard at some point in his career. Probably won't be a starter. But yeah, sure he's a good, smart player. Okay, Minnesota Timberwolves. I love the pick of Chris Dunn. I think this is a great pick. I probably would have liked it if it was Jamal Murray or Buddy Hield here also. But you also cannot go wrong with Chris Dunn. He's going to come off there, man. He's going to be a good athletic point guard who's really going to just be great. Probably start off as a backup point guard behind Ricky Rubio, but I do imagine Rubio will be off this team after this season. And then, Chris Dunn will come out here and do some good things. And, yeah, it looks like he's not much of a shooter compared to Jamal and Buddy, but hey, as long as he can run that point guard position, give that ball to Karl-Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins or Zach LaVine, this team will be on point. New Orleans Pelicans, they got Buddy Hield. I love this pick, guys, because Buddy Hield, I think, is going to come to this league. He's going to come with a swagger out there, and I think he's going to be a 20-point-per-game scorer in the NBA. Him alongside Anthony Davis, I think has potential to be very deadly. They also got Cheikh Diallo, who, this guy was supposed to be a lottery pick. start coming into the college season. But on Kansas, he ended up being, I'm not going to say he's a bust because he's so young, but he did not play much down the stretch for Kansas. So, if he lives up to that potential, man, that could also end up being a steal a few years down the road. All right, next we got the OKC Thunder. They got an A++++. They also, they end up getting Domantas Sabonis in that trade with the Orlando Magic. But of course, the big pickup here was Victor Oladipo. Him and Russell Westbrook in the backcourt is going to be freaking lit, guys. Like, it's going to be amazing out there, especially if Kevin Durant stays around. And a guy like Serge Ibaka, yes, he's a great player, but I think his position is definitely replaceable. And even a guy like Domantas, if he comes in and can fill that void, it would really, even as Cantor, man, he could play power forward. I think he, got the mid-range shot to do that and the quickness on his feet, especially Steven Adams at the center. Watch out for the Thunder next season. Phoenix Suns, they took Dragan Bender with the 4th pick overall. I've watched, a little bit of footage of him in the draft and of him playing overseas. It's hard to tell, guys. Until you get a guy like this in the NBA playing against NBA talent, you just don't really know. Some say he'll be like the next Darko. Others will say maybe he'll be as good as Kristaps. Who knows? Remains to be seen. In the end of the day, it is a gamble, but hey, maybe the reward will outweigh the risk. They also got Tyler Ulis, who's like 5'9", but he's still a good point guard, and Marquise Chris, something like that. Don't know too much about him, but hey, maybe you guys know more about him than I do. All right, next we got the Portland Trail Blazers, who took Jake Layman from Maryland, 47 overall. It's fine, got a D, so not gonna talk about that too much. Sacramento Kings got, don't even maybe pronounce that first name. Looks like we got a center with the 13th pick overall. Malachi Richardson, I used to pronounce him Malichi, and everybody got pissed off at me. I do know now it's Malachi. And they also got Scal from Kentucky. So it looks like they load up on a few centers right here. A few shooting guards in Malachi, and also Isaiah Cousins with the 59th pick overall. So hey, we'll see how they do next year, right? San Antonio Spurs took DeJounte Murray from point guard from Washington. The Spurs always seems to know what they're doing with the draft, so this guy's probably going to be like 40-point per game scorer or something like that, knowing how they do. Utah Jazz, no first-round picks, and second-round picks. Whole bunch of guys there. Don't really see any names that really stand out to me. And that is it, guys. So let me know in the comment section below. What do you think about this draft? What did your favorite team do? How would you rate your team? How would you grade all the teams? Whatever you want to tell me. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.